When we are crashing the cost of the crashing the schedule, we need the normal cost, the crash cost, the normal time, the crash time. So when you are doing the crashing, what we are taking as the crash cost and the normal cost is basically the direct cost of the activity. What we saw in this example, if you increase one day, it will have this much impact on the because of this activity. So this is direct cost because of that activity. I'm increasing labor, I'm hiring two people, or I'm hiring two machines, or I was doing it manually, now I'm doing it using a device or equipment. So this is like the direct increase in the cost. So that's why we can put it with an activity. Okay, we have discussed direct costs earlier. So this is the thing which you are paying directly. So these costs can be easily assigned to the activity, because I purchase this, or I rent out this, or rent in this, and this is how much I'm paying, and this is for this activity. So it becomes very clear, the link or the relationship is very clear. Okay, two labor for this activity, one machine for this activity, and so on and so forth. So the normal cost and the crash cost are usually taking on the direct cost. Okay, and these direct costs can include these items. Okay, and the other name given to them is out of pocket costs. Okay, so if when you are calculating the crash direct cost, when you're calculating the crash direct cost, you may be hiring the same labor, but may ask them to work extra time. So the overtime is part of your crash cost. You may hire additional people. So we are doing the same amount of time, but more people, or you are continuing the work in another shift. So you have one shift of 8 hours, now you have another shift of another 8 hours. So this will be counted as additional labor because you will not have the same people, right? So it can be use of materials which are better suited for quick work. For example, quick hardening cement. Okay, so we have the normal hardening cement, which will take maybe 3 days to harden completely with curing, and then we have the quick hardening cement, which may do the job in one day. Okay, higher equipment cost. Okay, so you may be renting additional equipment. Okay, or you may be getting the equipment from another company, or from somewhere outside Bahrain, and that company says that we have a premium service. If you pay us normal fee, we will deliver the equipment in 10 days. If you give us a premium fee, we will deliver the equipment in like 1 week or so. Okay, and then you have incentive payments which you give to the subcontractor. Now in each of these items there is a direct item, there's a direct component, there's an indirect component. For example, when you are paying the overtime to the labor, okay, when you're asking them to work for extra hours, now for these extra hours you have to arrange things on the site as well for them, right? You need maybe extra supply of water. You need because extra hours would mean evening, night, so you need lighting as well. Okay, so it's not only the direct cost. When you have direct cost, you have the indirect component, which is also increasing as well. You are hiring additional labor, additional people. So to hire them, you need to like call for an interview, put an ad or something. Okay, so this will take extra cost, indirect cost. uh, the I already mentioned about the premium fee. Okay, so I'm paying the premium fee. This is not the direct cost. Okay, for getting the equipment earlier, faster, or the material faster, this is not the direct cost, this is the indirect cost. Okay, and incentive payments for subcontractors, I'll give you a bonus if you do it quickly. Now it is his or her headache how he does the job quicker. Okay, but you will give the incentive is indirect cost. You cannot say that this is because of this activity, or this is because of this much this many hours of work, and so with every direct component there is the indirect component as well. Okay, so Now, because of this indirect component, what happens? Uh, the benefit you are getting out of the time saving can reduce. This is what we call as law of diminishing returns. Law of diminishing return means as I increase the cost, the benefit which I am getting is reducing. Okay, the per unit benefit I am getting per unit cost is reducing when I increase the cost. Let me go to this graph. Okay, so you see here I am reducing the cost. I am reducing the duration by 1 day. Okay, I'm increasing the cost by 1000. Okay, as I move on, so there is 1000 per day. This is 1000 per day. Okay, when I go from 25 to 24, I'm still reducing by 1 day, but how much I'm spending extra? 2000. So here the return was 1 day for every $1000. Here the return is 1 day for every $2000. So you see the law of diminishing return here. As I go further along this curve, my per unit benefit of days is reducing compared to per unit increase in cost. Okay, so the ratio of benefit upon cost is reducing. I'm getting less and less benefit by adding the same amount of cost every time. This is what we mean by law of diminishing returns. And this usually happens because of the indirect costs. Because I already gave you the example. You are doing the work at night, so you may be calculating that I will pay my labor for 2 hours extra, and you are only calculating that, but actually you are paying more for electricity and water than what you are giving for the labor. Okay, so the indirect cost plays a big part in the law of diminishing returns. Okay, so I hope you have got the point. The law of diminishing returns says that as you keep on trying to reduce the schedule more and more, the per unit cost of reduction is increasing. Okay, or the per unit benefit from the cost is reducing. Okay, so for example, you may be saving 1000, you may be paying $1000 extra for saving 1 day, but on the next day you may be paying $2000 extra for saving another day. Okay, and so on and so forth, like I showed you in the graph. Why this happens? Why we have diminishing returns? Why don't we keep the same graph? Okay, with every day, okay, I will have $1000 extra and I will save 1 day. Why doesn't it continue in the same slope with the same rate? These are the possible reasons only. Okay, these are some possibilities. There could be others as well. Okay, the first thing is labor comes in the morning, they start working, they spend 8 hours. Now you're asking them to spend 2 hours more. Okay, so these 2 hours are extra 2 hours. They are willing to do it because this will give them more money. But will they be the same? Will they give you the same amount of production, same amount of efficiency? No. So they are bound to make more mistakes. Okay, because they are tired, they are fatigued. Okay, they were working in sunlight, natural light. Now they are working in artificial light. So there may be some corners where the light is not reaching. Okay, or whatever. Okay, so their productivity will be less, their chances of errors will be higher because they are tired, because they have been working. Another thing is, let's say you are not asking the same labor to put extra hours. You are saying I will hire new labor. Okay, so I was having 10 people on the site, I need to finish it faster, I'll bring 15 people on the site. Okay, so then you can have a problem of congestion. Okay, congestion not on the road but on the site. Okay, and the congestion can be because of workers, it can be because of material, it can be because of equipment. Okay, so you are doing excavation, You are using one excavator. I need to finish it faster, I will hire two excavators. Does your site has enough place for two excavators to work together? Okay, this is the question. uh, let's say concreting. You said, okay, I want to do concreting fast. I'll do the entire floor in one day, concreting. Okay, so and you have a place for mixer and everything. Okay, so the mixer is not a problem, but to do the entire concreting in one day, you need to bring the cement and aggregate and water for that much quantity, which is enough for the whole floor. So where do you store it? Okay, you cannot rely on, okay, I will keep on mixing and it will keep on coming from somewhere. You cannot rely it like this. Okay, so you have to store it somewhere. So the material, there can be material congestion as well. Okay, so you may hire or you may pay for extra storage and so on. So these things, when you keep on crashing your or compressing your schedule more and more, these things will keep on increasing. These problems will keep on increasing, and that they will increase your indirect cost. Okay, and that will go towards diminishing returns. If I continue working in a with tired labor, if I continue working in congested environment, I am asking for more accidents, low productivity, and more mistakes and errors. Okay, so if it didn't happen in one day, it may, if you continue on the second day or third day, it is bound to happen. Okay, so this is the whole idea behind it. So when they make mistakes, when their productivity is low, you have to do rework, and you may have to like completely destroy a column or a beam because it was not done properly, just because people were tired or they were not paying attention, so on and so forth. Already mentioned about the accident. When accident happens, it's not like, okay, one labor got injured, I will remove him from the site and everything is done. No, on construction sites, if an accident happens, then the thing which that guy was doing will stop. If accident involves an equipment, then the equipment has to be replaced. You have to report the case, and if the accident is major, it could be a police case as well. And there is compensation given to the person involved in the accident. Okay, if it was because of the work situation. So there are a lot of things. It's not like, okay, just let this guy go to the health center and I will bring somebody else. It's not so simple. Okay, so there are other costs involved as well, insurance claims and so on and so forth. And it appears on your company record. I think I mentioned it once earlier as well. There was a company, and I forgot the name now. They are dealing with construction equipment. So they were putting the poster on their gate, on their company gate, on the office gate, that so many hundreds of days without accident. Okay, so the opposite is also true. If you have more accidents, you are building a bad reputation for your company. Okay, so that means it will harm your future projects as well. Okay, so this is this diagram. You have the duration of the project on the x-axis, the cost of activities on the y-axis. Okay, so when you are trying to so we will read it in reverse manner. Okay, from right to left, it will give you a good idea. So this is the normal cost. Normal cost means higher time. Normal cost means higher time. When you try to reduce the normal cost, you will eventually increase the you will increase the direct cost, and you are also increasing the indirect cost. Okay, both costs are you are increasing the direct cost, okay, while you are trying to reduce the duration of the project. Okay, and so your indirect cost was here. Okay, so the major portion was the indirect cost and the minor portion was for the direct cost. When you increase the direct cost, the indirect cost because it is divided. Okay, so you are doing more work in the same amount of time, so you will divide it more. So for example, the indirect cost was divided by or was divided upon 4 labor, okay, which were working on the site. Now you increase the labor on the site, okay, so you will divide the same indirect cost with extra labor, so it is decreasing. Okay, and the other thing is you are reducing the duration of the project. So when you are reducing the duration of the project, okay, so you will work for less time on the project. Number of days on the project will be less. So every day you are working on the project, you are consuming electricity, you are consuming water, you are consuming transportation. So when you reduce the number of days on the project, your indirect cost is reducing in this manner. Okay, so this is the whole idea behind it. So you are trying to reduce the duration of the project, you will increase the direct cost, and because you are reducing the duration, your indirect cost will reduce. So direct will increase and the indirect will reduce. The indirect is reducing because of the number of days you are reducing, okay, and the direct is increasing because of the same reason. Okay, so now you can see there is a intersection point here where the indirect and the direct will become equal. Okay, and after that what will happen? The law of diminishing return, that your direct cost will go above the, so you will basically cancel out the effect of the compression of the project. Okay, so up to this value before the intersection point. Okay, this is not a like a specific point here, they are showing before this intersection point. Before this intersection point, your direct cost is lower, the indirect cost is higher. Okay, and when you reduce the duration of the project, the higher component is reducing and the lower component is still lower than this one. So the overall impact is saving. Okay, you are getting my point. My indirect cost was higher, which was reducing. When I move in this direction, the higher component is going down and down and down. The lower component is increasing, but it is still less than this one. Okay, so higher one is reducing and the lower one is still less. So the overall impact is saving. But when I cross the intersection point, okay, now what is happening? This component is increasing and this is on the higher side. So after the intersection point, the overall impact of crashing is negative, meaning you are increasing the cost. Okay, you are increasing more direct cost than what you are saving in the indirect cost. Okay, so before the intersection point, you are spending some more in the direct cost, but you are saving more in the indirect cost. After the intersection point, it will reverse. Okay, you will give more in the direct cost and you are saving less in the indirect cost. Okay, so we want to be on this side of the intersection point. On this side of the intersection point, you will have the minimum cost of the project. Okay, so on this right hand side of the project. Okay, so they have given already explained what they are saying here. Okay, try to explain in simple terms, but this is the cost of crashing is less than the benefit of finishing early. Okay, so this is happening here on the right hand side. So the rule is if the daily cost of crashing per day extra cost, okay, daily cost of crashing per day extra cost is less than daily benefit of early finish plus daily penalty avoidance, okay, then we should crash. Okay, so the daily benefit is the reduction in indirect cost. This is a daily benefit. Okay, so daily benefit of crashing of early finish is the reduction in indirect cost, daily benefit. Every day you save, you are saving this much in the indirect cost. Okay, plus the daily penalty for avoidance, meaning the increase in direct cost. So if the decrease in indirect cost plus the increase in direct cost is more than the per day crashing cost, then you will do the crashing. Otherwise, you will not do the crashing. Okay, but again, it's a mathematical way of saying it, but the point is when the direct cost, which is increasing, is less than the indirect cost, which is reducing, then you should crash. Okay, crash meaning not crash the car, you crash the schedule of the project, you try to reduce it. Okay, now this could be heavy on you guys. So yeah, we have a question. Which cost? Okay, the direct cost is increasing. Okay, the direct cost is increasing because you are hiring extra labor, extra equipment to do the job faster. Okay, so the direct cost is increasing. The indirect cost, which is linked to the number of days you are working on the project. So when you are working on the project for 10 days, you have office cost, electricity cost, water cost, internet cost for 10 days. So if I reduce the project to 9 days, I will hire extra labor to finish it 1 day early. But at the same time, you will have less extra cost for electricity and water and office and stationery and transportation. So this is what is happening here. Okay, on this side, direct cost is increasing, indirect cost is reducing. Okay, so do you have any other questions? This is why I wanted to stop here. So I'll give you 10 seconds to digest all this or ask me any questions. Do you have any questions? Yes, anyone has any questions? Okay, so we can move on. Okay, so this is the same example we did last time. So the normal baseline case was 26 days. The normal cost is 17,000 direct cost, and $1,000 extra cost for minor issues with the normal baseline. Okay, so the total cost 17 direct, 1,000 indirect, total 18,000. After crashing from 22 to 24 days, the direct cost became 24,000. How? We already saw it in the previous example. You need to go and check. Okay, indirect cost is still 1,000. Okay, so this indirect cost is for rework and inefficiency or whatever, like material wastage, small material wastage or something. Okay, so 24 plus 1 is still 25,000. Okay, this is theoretical. Okay, so they are not considering anything else. Okay, but actually when you will hire more people to work on the site, you have more chances of error, and if you allow them to work for longer hours, you will have more chances as they will be tired and they will make more errors. So the cost of rework and inefficiency with the crash duration should not be 1,000, because now you have more chances of wastage and error and rework. Okay, so from 1,000 it should increase to 4,000. So the direct cost still 24,000 after crashing, plus 4,000 of extra cost for rework and inefficiencies. So instead of 25,000, I should expect a total cost of 28,000. Okay, so now considering this, if when you are looking at it theoretically, okay, theoretically means you are not considering the practical issues with the labor when they have to work longer or when there are more people on the site. Okay, the issues can be they will make more errors and they will do more rework and inefficiency and so on and so forth. So in the normal case, theoretical case, you are increasing the total cost from 18 to 25, increase of 7,000. But actually, if you consider the practical issues, you have actually $4,000 of indirect cost. So your cost has actually not increased by 7,000, it has increased by 10,000 from 18 to 28. Okay, so you can see that now you have to, so when you are looking at it theoretically without considering any practical issues and the indirect cost, you will say I saved 4 days with an extra cost of 7,000. but actually you have saved 4 days with an extra cost of 10,000. Okay, so now you bring these two propositions to the client. Okay, that you can spend 4 more days on the site and with an extra cost of 10,000. Will he agree or not? Okay, the same client who may have said yes for $7,000 extra may say no, because now you are saying we will actually spend $10,000 extra. Okay, so you can see the decision can change. Okay, the decision can change for crashing. Okay, $4,000, 4 days for $7,000 looks more attractive and looks more efficient to the client as compared to same amount of time for $10,000 extra. Okay, so the client may say no, just finish it normal. Okay, let me see what was, I forgot myself what was while we were doing it, the crashing, this was the case, right? I'm trying to see what was the project. They didn't mention the project. Okay, but the project could be that, for example, it's a hotel project. Okay, so the client wants to finish it fast so he can start renting out rooms earlier. Okay, so their season tourists are coming in, so he wants to prepare the hotel 4 days in advance, so those 4 days he will earn extra money. But now you tell him that for these 4 days you have to spend $10,000 extra. Now he will say, okay, if I spend $10,000 extra, one room will go for $1,000 or $500. In extra 4 days I may earn like $6,000-7,000 extra, but I'm spending $10,000 for getting it 4 days in advance. Okay, so he may say no, I don't want to do it now. Okay, but if he is getting, for example, $8,000 extra and you did not give him this practical scenario, the indirect cost thing, he will agree. He will say, okay, I will still get $1,000 extra or maybe more. Okay, depending upon the client. Okay, so this is how the client may decide. Okay, so just to, I believe this is a wrap up. Okay, so normal, we have discussed two methods of crashing or compression. So normal is A has this much duration, B has this much duration. You overlap them with the same duration. You overlap them, but the duration is same. This is called as fast tracking. You don't overlap them, but reduce the duration for A and B. This is called as crashing. Okay, so we have discussed two methods, and this table gives you a comparison of both methods. So when you are doing crashing, your direct cost is increasing. Okay, when you are doing fast tracking, your risk of rework and these things, because when you do the two things parallel, you will have more people on the site, and you will, because it's crashing, you may have more people, you may have more shift, you may have better equipment or whatever. But in fast tracking, you are combining the activities together, so you will have to work with more people, so you have higher risk of rework and other things. Okay, both of them will shorten the project, but in crashing the shortening is happening because of activities, and in fast tracking the shortening is happening because of overlapping. Crashing is good where the critical path has low cost activities. Remember, we have discussed critical path earlier. Okay, so in critical path the activities are low cost. To compress them, the extra cost is very low, so I will go for crashing, that is better. Okay, and fast tracking is good for projects where the sequence is flexible. Okay, so in critical path we don't have much flexibility. Okay, so we one activity has to happen after the other. Okay, so where you don't have where the critical path is, has activities which can overlap with each other, and they have they are flexible in terms of their dependency. Remember, we said dependency. So where the dependencies are flexible, you can go for fast tracking. It doesn't matter if you do it one after the other or if you do it together. Okay, then you will go for fast tracking. The main risk in crashing is the diminishing returns. I told you, you are increasing direct cost, trying to reduce indirect cost, but you will get to an intersection point where the increase in direct cost is more and the decrease in direct cost is less. And with fast tracking, because of having multiple activities on the site, you are having the risk of more rework and more errors and more conflicts on the site, okay, and so on and so forth. So in fast tracking, the main challenge is management. In crashing, the main challenge is the budgeting. Okay, let me phrase it like this. Okay, in fast tracking, the main challenge is how you will manage the activities together. In crashing, the main challenge is how you budget it. Okay, where you are saving the cost. So what we have seen up till now is just a calculation, but I have already given you a taste of the financial problems which can happen with the client and so on and so forth. Okay, schedule compression always has extra cost. Okay, always has extra cost. The client may still want to do it because the benefit is higher, but it's not like you can do schedule compression with zero extra cost. It doesn't happen in this way. Okay, and the thing is some recall of what we have already done, what we already said earlier. When you are crashing, you are trading cost for time. So I'll pay extra to save time. Okay, and you have to do it on the critical path, and you have to look at the per day extra cost you are having. Okay, and in fast tracking, like I mentioned, your main challenge is how you manage the risk and how you will communicate with your team. Okay, the best approach can be hybrid. You can do a hybrid approach. Hybrid approach meaning, if you look here, okay, so I'm just overlapping them. Here, no overlapping but shortening. I can do both. I can do both. So little bit of overlapping and little bit of shortening. Okay, so activity B was 5 days. I make it 4 days. And 1 day overlapping as well. So eventually I will save 2 days. Eventually I will save 2 days. But so let's say here I am doing overlapping for 2 days only. So I'm trying to save 2 days by 2 days of overlapping. So I'm taking an extra risk for 2 days. And here I'm trying to do shortening for 2 days without overlapping. So I'm increasing the direct cost for 2 days. If I do hybrid, I'm reducing the cost of rework from 2 days to 1 day, congestion, risk of congestion from 2 days to 1 day, and I'm only increasing the direct cost for 1 day. Okay, so the risk is relatively low and the direct increase in direct cost is also relatively low. So if you do only one approach, either you will put all your you will try to achieve all your compression by increase in direct cost. Okay, or you will try to achieve all your compression by overlapping. So only overlapping will have high risk for more days. Only compression will have high direct cost and so on. So if you do hybrid, so some days overlapping and some days compression, some days crashing. So you are having relatively low risk and relatively low increase in direct cost. Okay, so so in the end we are just trying to summarize what we have already done. Any questions at this point? Anybody has any questions? Yes, you are doing 2 tasks at one time in a shorter time. Yes, what you are saying is correct. Yes, but my last point was you can do both. Okay, to do 2 tasks at a time, and you can do shortening for one of them as well. So you're not completely overlapping and you are not completely crashing as well. You can do this as well. But yes, ideally what you are saying is true. If I'm doing one at a time, then this is what it means. Any other question? Okay. Okay, now we move towards the resource management topic. Okay, so a very important topic for the construction. We have a lot of resources which are part of the construction project. Okay, can you give me some examples, resources which we use during construction projects? Give me some examples of resources used during construction projects. Tell me. Yes, what resources do we need during construction projects? Money, time, equipment, labor, materials. Okay. Is anything missing? I believe we have covered most of it. Okay. Labor, material, time. Okay. Head. Head. What do you mean head? Yes, anyone else or Faris, you want to explain what do you mean by head? Ah, okay, overheads. Overheads. Okay. Nobody uses their head in the construction. Okay. Overheads. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. That's fine. You can add electricity and water and these things as well. So, but you basically get the idea. So, in construction, earlier in I believe first two or three lectures, we looked at different areas of project management. One of those areas was resource management as well, and one of those areas was schedule management. So we already discussed schedule management. One of those was scope management, which was covered in WBS, if you remember. So we are covering some of the areas which are part of project management specialization. So one of those is resource management, which means planning, allocating, and managing resources, and these are the things involved. Finances. Okay, so instead of just saying money, they say finances because sometimes you are not basically trading in money directly. You are, giving and taking something in return. Okay, so finance is a good term for that. And the idea behind doing this management is to complete the project successfully. Okay, another definition which is very similar to the first one, but it has the extra item of forecasting and optimizing and for the life cycle of the project delivery. So life cycle of the project includes, if you remember, with initiation, then design, then procurement, then execution, and then delivery, and so on and so forth. So this is the entire life cycle. So resource, that second definition is saying you have to consider the resource management for the entire life cycle, and it involves some sort of forecasting as well, because you will do or prepare your plan in advance before you start the construction work itself, right? So what you are planning is forecasting. I will do this in future, so forecasting, predicting, and you try to optimize the resources in the entire project. So if you increase the resources, your work will be faster, we know that. But the problem is, you already mentioned, the indirect cost could be higher, chances of accidents could be higher, so you try to optimize it. Not very high and not very low. Optimum is something which is perfect. Okay, not minimum, not maximum, something which is in between, and that is perfect. Okay, so and same thing are mentioned here. I believe tools was not mentioned earlier. Okay, and time was mentioned by you. Okay, inventory means materials basically, and so on. So the main objective of resource management is to fulfill the project requirements and to ensure the productivity as well. Okay, so uh, to ensure the productivity, then if you take labor for example. Okay, if you take longer working, if you take longer, if you ask them to work for longer times, their productivity will be less. Okay, same thing for equipment. If you don't do proper maintenance and inspection of the construction equipment, their productivity will keep on getting lower and lower. Okay, so resource management also involves ensuring the productivity as well. Okay, yeah, I have two mixers and I have three excavators, but most of them cannot work for more than 1 hour, so it's useless. Okay, so you need to work on the resources and maintain their productivity as well. Same thing with the labor, and same thing with the tools and inventory and whatnot. Okay, and you have to look at improving the workforce, building the workforce. So for there are some people uh, in the construction sector, they will work with one supplier on one project, but their coordination will be so bad that that supplier will not want to work with them in the next project. So in the next project, they are looking for someone new, and they do the same thing with the labor as well. They will, or even not even the labor, even the engineer. Okay, I have heard about some very big companies in Bahrain, which have like workforce of hundreds of people. But how they treat these people is so bad that the first chance that person gets to get out of the company, they go for it. Okay, so if this is the trend in your company, so for every project you may have someone new. Okay, and that is not good. Someone new has lower productivity. He will take more time to understand and get trained and everything. Okay, so you try to build your workforce. Okay, so you train people on one project, then you try to retain them. Okay, so they in the next project, we know their productivity will be higher if they are still with us. Same thing with the engineers, same thing with the labor, same thing with the equipment operators and everybody. Okay, I have known people in the construction on the construction site that they keep on working on the same type of project. After 3 4 projects, they can do the work of 3 4 people together because they have seen everything which is part of the project. Okay, they have seen concreting, they have seen formwork, they have seen steel bending, everything. Okay, so they are so expert now that even if the guy who was handling the labor didn't come, this guy can handle the labor now for 1 or 2 days. So your productivity will not reduce if you build the workforce properly. Okay, and obviously then you are improving the profitability as well. You will get the work done faster, and so on and so forth, and you will have less rework, less errors. Okay, so your profitability will increase. Okay, if you are hiring new people every project, then your profitability will reduce because those new people will have more errors, may cause more accidents and so on and so forth. And another part of resource management is to reduce the project risks. Okay, so we need things when they are required. So we don't want to delay the project because you did not order the material on time. Okay, or somebody has got stuck in traffic, or somebody or something is stuck in customs or something. So you have to reduce these risks for your resources. Okay, also in the resource planning, you have to make sure that everything is done on time. Okay, while maximizing the utilization of the resources from project to project. So there's something which we call as idle time. Okay, so you have a mixer. Okay, and that mixer is not operating for 3 4 5 weeks. Okay, so if you keep any equipment like this, it will start to get damaged. Okay, so you have to make sure that from project to project there's no gap. Okay, or no, there's no big gap in the utilization of the resources. So when the resource gets to the project, it is utilized there, and then you shift it to another project. Okay, so you don't overbuy things. Okay, this is a usual trend. Oh, I'm getting more projects, I'm becoming a bigger contractor. Okay, so I should hire more people, or I should hire more equipment. Okay, this is usually the trend. I had 10 people under me, now I have 50 people under me because I have more projects. But out of those 50 people, 10 are always idle. They are not doing anything, they're just taking your salary. Okay, so you did not plan it properly. You could have used only 40 people more efficiently without these extra 10 people. Okay, and same thing with the equipment as well. You bought the equipment because you thought that, oh, I have 2 more new projects. But you didn't think that the schedule of the project can be arranged in a way that I can use the same equipment on both the projects in different times. So you will maximize the resources, maximize the utilization. Don't maximize the resources, maximize the utilization of the resources. Okay, uh, so we don't want idle equipment, we don't want stored material, we don't want idle people. Okay, just taking a salary. We want them working on different places at different times. So we want better planning. Okay, not better buying, better planning. Okay, so we already mentioned the type of resources we have. uh, Item 3 and 4 are depending upon 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 are the main items, right? The resources which you will utilize. And these resources will dictate how much money you need and how much time you need. Okay, so if I have people who are working for 8 hours, I need to pay them for 8 hours, and the time is 8 hours. Okay, non-human resources, you are using a high quality material, you need more money, and it may come from somewhere else, it will need more time, and vice versa. Another way of classifying so this is a broad way of classifying the resources into just 4 categories. Another way of classifying the resources, which applies to more projects, and not only construction projects, is time, raw material. Okay, so non-human resources can be raw material, it can be machinery and equipment as well, right? And it can be information and data as well. Okay, data is also sort of a resource. So this is why I said that this is a general classification which you can apply to even non-construction projects as well. Okay, like design or software development. So information and data for in those projects is it's a resource. What is design? Design is just information, right? It's just data. So this is another way. Okay, so non-human, in the second classification, the non-human is divided into material, equipment, and information and data, and then the rest of the items are same as the previous one. Okay, so in resource management you have the resource management process involves these 5 steps. Okay, so first of all, resource analysis. We also call it inventory. Taking an inventory, meaning record of what you already have. Inventory means record of what you already have. So this is where you start. Okay, when you have a project, you start, first of all, look at your capacities. Okay, for each resource, how much of each type of resource I have and what will I need for the project, and you identify the gaps. Okay, then you start preparing your plan. Okay, so what in the plan you will note down what you actually need for the project and from where you will get it. Okay, you already saw in the first step how much of each resource you already have. So if you can fulfill it from your store, you will fulfill it. If you cannot, then you have to arrange it from somewhere, right? Okay, and you also obviously at this point of time you need the quantities as well. So how much labor, how many equipment, how many tools, how much material, and so on and so forth. Then you schedule them. You will need, okay, I need this much resource and this is from where I will get it. And resource scheduling means when you will get it. Okay, when you will get it. This is where I explain to you the concept of reducing the idle time. increasing the optimization, or sorry, the utilization of the resource. How I can use less resources more efficiently. Okay, so you try to align the resources according to the schedule of the project to see when they will be required, and in this way you may be able to use less resources on multiple projects by just managing the schedule properly. Then you have resource allocation. This is now the actual process, right? So I need this resource at this time on this project. So you have to get it there, right? If it's labor, you have to pick them and drop them, and you have to give them the supplies they need. If it is equipment, then you have to again transfer it. If it is material, you have to buy it and put it in a truck, and you have to get it for the. So this is all part of resource allocation. Okay. So this happens after scheduling. Okay, and then you have resource tracking. Once the resource is on the site, then you track, monitor. Okay, so you look at the timesheets, you look at the quantities, you do surveys, quantity surveys, and so on and so forth. And you will for the equipment and labor, we have the timesheets, when this guy came and when did this guy leave, and so on and so forth, and for how many hours this equipment was used, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the 5 steps. It starts from your analysis of the existing resources, then you see what you need and from where you will get it, then when you need it, then you deploy them, then you track them. Okay, so the 5 steps. Now within human resources, you have multiple people, estimator, quantity estimator, okay, or the estimator who will do the initial estimation, the costing of the project. Okay, so he will look at what the resources which are required. So he will estimate the resources, and for doing that he needs a complete plan and a specification and drawings of the project. Okay, so he is the guy who will tell you what resources you need. Then you have the architects, and they are the people who will give you the drawings and codes and these things. They give the design. Then you have the supervisor, okay, the construction supervisor. We call it the foreman as well. Okay, there could be other terminology used somewhere else. The foreman, the supervisor, is the person between the project manager and the labor. The project manager and the labor. So he is, he is basically asking project manager, what do you want? Then he translates them to something which the people can understand, the labor can understand. Okay. Then you have the quantity surveyor, who is tracking the actual cost of the project. He is doing the survey, how much work is completed, and so on and so forth. Okay, and during the project he may be involved in making decisions on how to reduce the cost, how to manage the project schedule, and so on and so forth. Then you have the engineer. Engineer can be civil engineer, mechanical, electrical. All of them are involved in the construction project. Okay, and they are all responsible for their own duties. Civil engineer is responsible for the structure. The electrical engineer is responsible for the electrical appliances, and so on and so forth. Okay, so everybody will be doing their own job, and all of them, they have their own standards to follow, right? And then we have the construction worker, the guy who is actually getting his hand dirty. He's actually the guy who is actually doing the work on site, and they can be of different specializations: carpenters, masons, electricians, plumbers, or general labor who are just shifting material on the side and doing some things like this. Okay, then we have the non-human resources, which are equipment, and in construction jobs we have some very heavy equipments involved. For example, bulldozers, cranes, excavators, loaders, drills, saws, concrete mixers. Drills, you can have a big drills and you can have small drills. Okay, if you have seen any building being demolished, you will see the big drills there. Okay, they use it with the crane. Okay, and if you have used a drill to pull to put a hole in your wall, there's a small drill, you can keep it in your hand. Okay, so drills can be big ones and they can be small ones. Same thing with the saws as well. Saw is something which you use for cutting. Okay, use for cutting. You have small saws for cutting boards of wood and so on, and you can have big saws by which you are cutting the concrete slab and these things. Then you have materials, okay, physical substances which you are using on the project. It can be concrete, and we know concrete itself is made up of different material, right? And then we have steel, wood, bricks, cement, clay, glass, other finishing materials, okay, like paint, tiles, fixtures. Then we have facilities, okay, and as per the construction regulations which are adopted worldwide, we have to provide certain facilities to the workers on the site to, so that they can work in a proper way. And these facilities include site offices, storage areas for materials, workshops. They have to do some cutting or bending or something, so there should be a secure place for doing this sort of work. Worker accommodation, usually all workers do not stay at the site, usually on maybe 90% of the project, but there is some labor which is staying on the site to take care of the site operations, okay. You will at least see some security personnel on the site 24 hours, okay. So they need accommodation, obviously. Restrooms, security systems, not only people, security systems, cameras, barriers and these things, okay. Then uh, so in human resource management, so how do you manage different resources? Then we are talking about that now. So in humans are obviously one of the most valuable resource of the project. Agreed or not? Up to you. Some people don't agree. The humans are cheap. You can give like, you can get like 10 in place of 1. If I fire 1, there are 10 ready to come, right? So this is our word, but theoretically or from a totally ethical point of view, humans are the most valuable resource of an organization, right? So in human resource management, it starts with recruiting them, hiring them. You have to develop them, you will train them, you will give them the skills which they need. So it's not only about you get the finished product. You never get the finished product, even in teaching, even in universities, okay. So when I came to UOB, I already had 10 years of experience of teaching. But when I came at UOB, it's different environment, different people. Huh? You have you guys are special, right? So uh, even a person like me, which has 10 years of experience, has to learn new things, okay. And we're still learning. See, now situation is changing every 6 months, something happens, and we have gone through COVID. Now we have this situation, so we are learning, okay. We keep on learning. And then we have the human resource management, important part. I mentioned it earlier as well. You have to retain them. So you don't want people to get trained and then go and look for a job somewhere else. Okay, you want to train them and you want to keep them. And keeping them is a very difficult thing. Okay, because as human beings, we always want something better. We're always looking for something better, right? Okay, so retaining a person is a very difficult job. You have to look for like what makes them happy, what will make them content with the job. Okay, so let me ask you, if you are in a company, okay, and now they trained you, they have given you much information, much knowledge. So what would keep you in that company? You may have and go look for better jobs. Now your experience as well. You are an expert. Okay, you have experience on big projects. So people are offering you new jobs, or there are new jobs in the market. Okay, so what will keep you on your current job? Let's say I'm your boss. I'm asking you not to leave this job. Okay, so what you will expect from your company, from your organization to give you to keep you on your job? Tell me. It's not okay. Just be open. You can say whatever you want. Promotion, okay. What else? Anybody else? Okay, more experience. So you want better projects? Okay. This is called as, both these points come under professional satisfaction. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. More money? Everybody wants more money, right? This is very obvious. Huh? Okay, what else? Growth opportunities. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is what you think, but a very important thing is your treatment in the company, like how people treat you. Okay, the environment of the company. Okay, these are also very important things. People friendly, uh, and how is the working environment? Do they give you much stress? Okay, first talked about new projects. So yes, I want new projects, but it doesn't mean that I want you to ruin my family life or personal life. So how they are managing your balance. They call it work-life balance. Okay, so these things are also important, just to let you know. So I was talking about retaining. Okay, so retaining the workforce and then enhancing their productivity. How I can use the same workforce to do a better job on the site. So if you have done right amount of training, if you are equipping them with new technology, new skills, their productivity will increase. Okay, and you also want to, another thing which they have mentioned is health index. Okay, so for example, you have labor, or you have a guy in your company, he was taking like, he takes like 1 month out of the whole year as sick leave. If you give them better opportunities, they get less sick. And they, not sick leave which you give at the exam time. Okay, the real one, the real one. So if you provide them better opportunities, better services, maybe they will take less sick leaves, and obviously less sick leaves mean they are more productive. Okay, so these type of things. So if you are doing all these steps properly, then your project will run more smoothly. Okay, you will have more reliability, your organization will grow, because you will have better trust and image in front of your client and in the market. Okay, then we have the financial resource management. Okay, uh, we used to have like a course, a complete course for financial resource management in our MSc. Okay, this is how important it is. Faris also mentioned money, right? So it all boils down to how much money you are spending and getting. So in financial resource management, you forecast first of all how much finances you need, and then you plan from where you will get it, how you will get it, how you will transfer it, who you will give it to, and at what point you will give it. Like, okay, I need to give contractor 10,000 BD. Yes. Okay, in the end. But when should I give it? Okay, should I give it 1,000 every month, or is it half at the start, half at the end? So this is all part of planning. Okay, and then you allocate your money to suitable projects. So you do it at the organization level, how much money you have, how you are going to plan and forecast and so on, and then you distribute it into your projects you have, because money is, central. You cannot say this money is only for this project. Okay, you have other things. Even as a person, even as a guy who is a student, you have X amount of money, right? And you have many things. Okay, you have your car, you have your health, you have your food, you have your, I don't know, PlayStation or whatever. Okay, so you distribute the money, right? So the same thing is done at the organization level as well. Okay, so when you are doing the financial resource management, you have to keep certain things in your mind. First of all, organization objectives, the main role of the organization. Okay, the money should go, most of the money should go to the things which are fulfilling the main role of the organization. Okay, so it's a construction organization, most of the money should be spent on construction work. If you are spending most of the money in paying your electricity bills, you are doing something wrong. Okay, so most of the money should go to your prime business area. Then you prioritize the initiatives. Okay, you take new initiatives, buying new software, buying new equipment. Okay, anything which you are doing for the first time. Okay, so you have to prioritize the initiatives, which should be done first, which should be done second, and so on and so forth. Identify and mitigate financial risks. Okay, so I have a project coming up. That project will need upfront 20,000 BD. Right now in my account only have 15,000 BD. So this is a financial risk now. You have to start the project on time, otherwise it will be delayed. So how do you manage that? So this is part of financial risk management. Okay, look at something which you will need at a particular time, and then you look at your resources and you see. Okay, and the financial risk can be what can happen in the market. Okay, so I'm assuming that this material will be available at this price. Okay, but the price can increase. I may have a new tax and shortage in the market and so on and so forth. Okay, so you have to keep all these things in your mind as well. Again, if you fulfill the requirements of financial risk management, your project will go smoothly and you will have better return on investment. Your profitability will increase. Return on investment is a term which people in economics use. You have taken economics course as well. You must have heard about it. So basically how much profit you are getting on your investment. So if you manage your resources properly, you will get more return on investment. Then you have, okay, I'll just do this one and we will end. So equipment management, sourcing the equipment. Some of the equipment would be with your company and some could be on rent. Okay, and some could be just borrowed from somewhere. Okay, so you have to manage all of that. Okay, what to do, which equipment to buy, which one to rent out, and so on. You have to schedule what is needed, when should I rent it out. Okay, and when should I use it, when it should be on one project, when it should be transferred to the other project, because equipment shifting takes a lot of effort. Keep in mind, it takes a lot of effort. Some of the equipment could be coming from other countries. We have companies here which have equipment working in Saudi, and when they need it here, they ask them to come, okay, and use it here. So these sort of things are to be used. The utilization, I told you, you have to maximize the utilization of the equipment, but that doesn't mean that you will lose their productivity. So you have to maintain them properly as well. Okay, utilization doesn't mean that you do it on one project, now the equipment is totally wasted. Okay, maintenance, okay, for physical assets for essential business operations. Okay, so you maintain your inventory, you monitor the performance of the equipment. Okay, so you don't wait for them to break down. Okay, noise is coming, getting slower, you do the maintenance at that time. You have to ensure that they are following all the standards. You have to ensure that you are following all the safety requirements. Okay, and this also means that you make sure all the required tools are available. It could be extra tire, it could be screws and whatever, okay, which you need with the equipment. So anybody who is using, like, you take the example of a drill. The drill has a drill, like the lead which you use at the front, which is doing the hole. So you need tools to replace it. Okay, and so on and so forth. So these things are all come under part of or come under equipment's resource management. So resource equipment is not only the big one, The small things which you need are also to be maintained, and you need to keep their inventory and you need to maintain them and utilize them and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'll stop here.